Hello, and happy Tuesday to you, November 9th, 2021. And just thought I'd do a live video here at the office. And you might notice I have a guest. And this guest is a very dear white Bengal tiger, very dear tiger to me. And I'll tell you the story in a second. But first of all, I want to thank everybody. Thank you for the pledges and the donations. And wow, 357 pledgers. And many have already donated, about half, I would say. And so altogether, over $7,000 has come in. No, over 7,000 has been pledged, and 3,500, about half the amount that's been pledged so far, has come in. And we've still got a long way to go. In the spring hike for Duchenne 7, we raised $24,000. I would like to top that. If anybody has any ideas on how to top that, let me know, or let us know, any one of us that are hiking and participating. Would love if somebody knows of somebody who would like to pledge, say for one of our African participants. Maybe somebody wants to pledge for their miles. Could be great. This Saturday we have an event in Maryland, and thank you Musu Wheeler and all the people, Benedicta and Jika and Jennifer. I hope Jennifer's going, and Paul and Johannes, and thank you everybody. It was the last two events were great in Maryland. We had one in the spring and one last fall. It's been great. Hey Barb, this white Bengal tiger, I have a story to tell about this. My buddy, I keep him in the office here. In 2006, me and this tiger go back. We go back a long ways. And it brings back some difficult memories, but Labor Day weekend 2006, Everett and Austin were in a small car accident. It was just a very light thing that happened in the rain at a red light, when the red light changed suddenly, and there was distractions in the vehicle. Their mom was driving and trying to help with the juice spill and was distracted and just slightly bumped in the car in front of her. Unfortunately, Austin at that point was not in a seatbelt, and he went flying into the dashboard and the windshield. But he was fine. He had no issues other than some soreness, and he was age 10 at the time. And if you know anything about Duchenne muscular dystrophy, hi Kathy. If you know anything about muscular dystrophy, it really makes the muscles weak. And so apparently at that time, Austin's muscles were not too weak to survive that pretty well. Everett's, however, he was 12. Hi, Tommy. Everett was 12, and he was in his wheelchair, tied down in the van, in the handicap van, and the strap just went around his waist and not across his chest. So what happened when there was the bump, hi Shiloh, he went forward like this, and so he was stuck a little bit, got himself up, and very slowly, and the van was totaled somehow from a small accident, and I was traveling for work. I was in Phoenix when I got a message. I had a layover in Phoenix, and I listened to the message, and I called right away and heard about this and this big thing. And so I talked to both of the boys, and I said, wow, Everett, that must have been scary. And he said, yeah, it was. And then, I was flying back to Minneapolis and then on to Duluth, where I was living, Duluth, northern Minnesota, where I was living. And so I got in the plane thinking everything was okay. And then when I got to Minneapolis, of course, I turned the phone on and I got messages And Lynn said Everett started having a really bad reaction. And basically what happened was his heart and his lungs. Yes, hi Shiloh. It's a live video. And so anyway, I got to Minneapolis and checked my messages, and there was a message from Lynn, their mom, saying Everett, his heart and his lungs started failing, and that he had to be airlifted from Shakopee over to Hennepin County in Minneapolis. And his heart and his lungs were failing. And so I said, wow, should I just, jump in a taxi and come right over? And she said, no, go home to Duluth and come back in the morning, keep my flight plans. And so I arrived in Duluth, and I went to sleep, and about 3 a.m., she started calling me, and she says, why aren't you here yet? And I was like, you said to come in the morning. And so then she said, well, get here right away. And basically, she didn't tell me too much to make me freak out, but basically, and I was, terrified driving down to Minneapolis. It's a 5-hour drive. No, I'm sorry. Excuse me, a 3-hour drive from 2-hour drive from Duluth to Minneapolis. Excuse me, it's 15 years ago. 2-hour drive from Duluth to Minneapolis. I was freaking out anyway. And basically that night he almost died, and he was put into a forced coma, and he stayed in a coma on a high-speed respirator for about 2 months. And so he ended up being in the hospital for 3 months. He survived. I remember the doctor's big eyes from the doctor that night. He's like, well, if he makes it through the night, that's a good thing. And so he did make it through the night. We were praying, we were crying, Lynn and me and her parents, and some others came by in the family and friends to try to support us and pray. And he survived. It was amazing. It was a miracle. And but he was on a high-speed respirator in a coma for 2 months. And so just before Thanksgiving, now we're getting to the tiger, just before Thanksgiving, that he came out of the coma, and they took him off the high-speed respirator like a week before that. And so I wanted to be down there for his, his moment, his first day or so of, first hours of being awake. And so I stopped at the Walgreens, and I saw this Bengal Tiger, and I thought, some balloons. And so I got that, brought those into the hospital with me as I arrived to say hello to Everett after a couple months of being in a coma. And wow, it was, I'm getting a little choked up about it, but it was a tough day. It was a tough day and a tough period in our life. And we had some good family and friends who supported us through it. And but later, after Everett and I were talking about it later, he said when he got this Bengal Tiger from me, it was the first time he felt like smiling. After his coma and everything, and how terrible he was feeling. So I forget when, but at some point they gave me the Bengal Tiger maybe 10 years ago, and I keep this Bengal Tiger around, and I see this often. I put it. It actually goes right behind this cloth thing on a case that I have back here. And so I keep this white Bengal Tiger around all the time. I don't have a name for him yet. I don't know. What should be his name? Does anybody have an idea of what to call this tiger? Let me know. Let me know in the comments. Thanks for listening, and God bless you. And I just saw a message come. Thanks, Johnny, for that. Thank you, for everybody. And what we are trying to do now with the Everett and Austin Project, in their honor, posthumously, is to help kids in Africa going through Duchenne and other rare diseases, help their families. We sent over some money today. I should say I sent over some money today through SendWave to some of our Duchenne parents. I sent some money over. Some of you may have seen the post, the goat post. Grace and Mercy have posted the goats, that one of the goats we're going to buy for the family to have a business, and so I sent over